Hello? Is this thing on? Am I live? Okay, it's Danny. I'm back. This is future Danny jumping in with a little quick addendum for this portion. I've already obviously been here. I've recorded the episode and I left the island. Please don't tell Nate I know how to hack into his podcast. Anyway, before I let you guys progress to the rest of the episode, I actually wanted to jump in real quick and address something that was just said while you were listening to it. Pertaining to the sources that I actually have for all the information that I had in this episode, I made a couple of mentions of a few things, but I actually wanted to jump back in and list off a couple of other sources that if you guys are interested in Gamera Super Monster related things, you should check out, including an admission that while we were recording together on the island, I experienced what might be the most epic brain fart of my of any podcast I have been on, and I wanted to quickly go in and make sure. This is what happens when you don't work from notes and you just start spewing things, you know. So I wanted to go in and pay credit where credit is due real quick. So I mentioned a couple of sources for where I was able to learn a lot about Gamera Super Monster, including the Gamera Chronicles, a history of fantastic Dai movies, which is a Japanese book. One book that I didn't mention that has a little information in it is Heisei Gamera Completion. And again, those books are both entirely in Japanese. So there's obviously some translation that has to go on there. It's also worth mentioning that information on the fall of Dai that I acquired came from listening to some of the audio commentaries that were recorded for the Shout Factory and Arrow video releases of the previous 7 Showa Gamera films. And it's also worth noting the work of Stuart Galbraith, who was mentioned on the show. His book, Monsters Are Attacking Tokyo, has an interesting section in it on Gamera Super Monster that I wanted to call out. But the one source that I completely whiffed on mentioning, even though I said I was going to mention it on the air because it's something people should know about, since a lot of these sources are audio commentaries and some of them require translation, I actually recently discovered that there is an English language book that takes a lot of the information I discussed in this episode about Gamera Super Monster and puts it all into one neat little package. It's actually an English language book that you can get on Amazon right now called The Unofficial Tokusatsu Fan's Handbook for Gamera Super Monster. There's a lot in this book that was discussed in this episode, a lot of the same information that was covered, including a couple of the same talking points that I mentioned, and a lot more. So if you want to learn way more than what we talked about in this little episode about Gamera Super Monster, check this book out. It's by Constantine Furman. It only costs it's very cheap. It's basically a audio commentary in book form. It's a really fascinating little read, and I just wanted to mention it because it helped me out in preparation for this episode, and I wanted other people to know that it exists, and I completely brain farted and didn't mention it on the air, and I wanted to remedy that. So definitely check out that book if you want to know more. It's got a lot more info in it, and it has a lot of stuff that was not covered on the show. So anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. I'm getting out of here before Nate finds out that I hacked his show. Peace.